in terms of what we've done for people who are elsewhere or not in UN compounds, we monitor the situation very closely and we try as much as possible to provide supplies and much needed food. There's a case where we've been able to provide food assistance through the South Sudan Relief and Rehabilitation Commission to about 7,500 displaced persons in Lake State and about 3,500 people in Jonglei State. And this is food for 2 weeks. And they were not found in a UN base per se. So in cases where we cannot be able to get them at UN bases where they've sought shelter, we try to work through the South Sudan Relief and Rehabilitation Commission.
Given the challenging circumstances, the humanitarian workers' lives must also be endangered. So can you describe how you're trying to balance both the distribution of aid and the protection of staff?
That's a very important point you're raising. Now, we are very committed at the United Nations World Food Programme in trying to support and assist the thousands of civilians who need assistance. And we are also conscious of the fact that it's important to operate in an area where it is favorable for our colleagues, our workers, as well as those of our partners to operate in. And so that's why we're looking into this. We're looking into the situation in each area, and we try to work on what conditions are favorable before we can provide assistance. In terms of that, there's also another aspect of the work of the World Food Programme, which I would want to bring to you. The aircraft from the United Nations Humanitarian Air Service, managed by WFP, have since December 19 assisted some 80 humanitarian organizations in transporting their staff to safe locations from conflict-affected areas. And so this is a lot of these humanitarian workers have been flown in to places like Juba, here where I am in the capital of the country.
Now, in terms of concerns about health and sanitation, how are operations being managed to protect people, and have there been any cases to be concerned about?
The main concern in the sites, in particular in some of these UN compounds where people have settled, is the lack of sanitation and the risks it poses in terms of the disease outbreak. And what I have personally seen in one of these facilities here in Juba is that the health cluster teams from our partners, our colleagues from the other sector, are trying to work with the communities there to see how they can improve sanitation. And that's also being done by the peacekeeping mission. And I think they are better placed in this case to explain how they're working on that.
Considering the timing of the conflict, with Christmas, what's the mood among the families and children especially? How are they taking in this situation?
It's quite a difficult situation towards the end of the year. I have been able to be in these camps, and I've spoken to women and children. I've seen them. I think lots of them would have wanted things differently at this end of year. But one thing that I saw also yesterday in one of the camps at the UN compound in Juba was that amidst all of these, staying in makeshift shelters and everything, I saw a large group of people who gathered, and they were able to organize a church service, and they were singing and so on Christmas Day, while on the other side we were providing food assistance. It tells us that the people are ready, for me personally, because that's my personal view, is that amidst all of this, there was a sense for the people to feel that they wanted also to live a bit of Christmas.